Hello, everyone, and welcome to E-Schoolhouse. This is Inspirations from the House. I am Deborah Kalinikos, your host and guide here at E-Schoolhouse. I'm also an engineer turned educator, and it is my mission to engineer a change in education, one family at a time. I truly believe that this time we're in right now is a gift. It's an opportunity for us to really make some changes in the way our children are educated. And I truly believe that's going to happen one family at a time, one parent at a time. So thank you so much for joining me on this live show. Every week, I bring you information about how parents can help their children learn, how parents can learn some things about the education system, and I strive to bring what people ask for. So if there is something in particular that you would like me to talk about, just send me a message and I'll get that scheduled in. Now, last week, we did a really great show for moms, and I'm super excited to extend that into this week. I'll talk a little bit about that in just a second. If you're just joining me today on our show and you're joining from our Facebook group, I would really appreciate it if you would click the link above to grant StreamYard permission so that I can see who you are. And if you want to ask my guest a question, she'll be able to see who you are. Now, just a couple of announcements before we get rolling. Next week, I'm going to talk about screen time. I've had a lot of people message me about that, and I've been thinking about it because now kids are on screens so much. So my goal is to just bring you information that you can discern, what works best for your children, because I believe you are the best teacher for your child and you are the expert on your kids. So my goal is to bring you information next week. Also, in early October, I'm going to be hosting another masterclass. This one is called How to Engineer the Learning Mind. I'm super excited about it. I think you're going to love it. I'll bring you more information about that next week. Okay, so here's the deal. Last week, we talked about how moms are just tired of being super mom. And I got to tell you guys, that was probably one of the most enjoyable sessions I've done since I started doing these shows. I really loved it. And after talking to several of you after that show, there was a common theme that kept coming up. It was just, I need to have a more flexible schedule. How do I find the time? Well, if you found yourself asking that question, have you ever wondered how you could create your own schedule, how you could make a leap from a corporate job into your own business? Would you like to work for yourself? If you've ever wondered about that, you are in the right place today, you guys, because my guest, Maria Conde, is someone I cannot wait for you to meet. And here she is. Hi, Maria. Welcome to E-Schoolhouse.
Hello, thank you.
Okay, so let me tell everybody a little bit about you because I'm so happy that you found the time to be with us today. So Maria is an entrepreneur with a thriving business. She is also a mother. And if you don't mind, Maria, I will clarify she is a single mother. So those of you who are single parents know the craziness of that. She's also an author. But, if that weren't enough, she also, and this is the part that I love the most about what Maria does, she helps women just like you and supports and guides women just like you who want to make the leap of working for somebody else to working for yourself. So she's here today to help you discern if that might be something in your future.
Thank you for the introduction.
Yeah, you're welcome. Well, why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself and how you made the decision to leave your corporate career and start your own thing.
Okay, great. Thank you. That I've been a CPA for like 30 plus years. And when I was a new mom, my daughter was about maybe a year old, I found myself really wanting more in life. And then unfortunately for me, a really good friend of mine and my coach passed away, and she had 2 young children. And then I had one of those moments in life where I really realized that I was meant for so much more. And I saw how much of an impact she had on other people. And I knew I needed to do something different. But it took a very long time from that point until it actually happened. And so that was my decision at the beginning, because I wanted to do more. I had a deep yearning inside of me to really make an impact and leave a legacy in this world.
I love that. And I love your phrase, you were meant for so much more. I mean,
Yeah,
and last week when we were talking about, moms trying to be super mom, you can't find that in yourself if you're too busy trying to be super mom.
totally. And that's one of the things I actually teach in some of my programs, is about letting go of that superwoman persona that we have to carry with us, right?
Oh, yeah, I need to come to that. We all need to come to that, right?
Exactly. And it's
Yeah.
true though. We need to let go of that, because we can't be everything all the time.
Yeah, that is so true. That is true. Okay, so you said it took a while after the death of your coach, but as you were discerning it, what were some of the things that you considered as you were making the transition?
Yeah, and for me, what I've learned and what I teach now is not what I did 10 years ago, but what I teach now is more about getting in touch with what your true vision is. At the time, I just knew that I wanted to not be in the corporate world, but I didn't know what I wanted to do. Business was all I knew. And I knew what I did is I went in to be a nutritionist and a health coach. And that's where I started my lateral, being corporate plus being single mom plus, running a side business basically. And I did that for 10 years.
Oh, wow.
And it's, my vision at that time was not what it turned out to be now. But that's okay. It's a journey that you need to go on. That was just part of my consideration. The other part of my consideration was that, I had a mortgage, I was a single mom, it was just me.
Mm-hmm.
And so I needed to really set myself up for success and have enough money put aside. And my background is as a strategic planner. So, you have an engineering background, so you get everything's got to be just so and labeled and, on the strategy, right?
Right. Systems and strategies.
Exactly. And so I put a lot of time and effort into, even in my job, about how I was going to leave that job and and it didn't go as I planned. I had set a date and my corporate world did something. So I had to go back to the table and say, okay, I gave it one more year. And so I did that.
Mm-hmm.
And it was one of the best things I ever did, because I learned so much more. And so I just followed that path, and I kind of worked with what the universe was sort of driving me with, right? It wasn't. And then when I left, it was right to the very last second when I walked out that office door, I had it curated.
Wow.
Last second. And it was exactly what I planned.
Yeah, I love that you're describing it as a journey, because so many people think that, okay, you just one day you make a decision and then boom. It's not a quantum leap. It really is a journey.
Yeah.
To transition yourself from one thing to the other. But if you don't take the first step,
yeah,
you don't make the transition.
Yeah, absolutely. And I talk about that journey a lot, because that life is a journey, right? It's not just an end point that we're aiming for. And
so
miss
true.
out on so much if you don't take in all of those parts of that journey.
Right. So if you don't mind, I want to get into kind of the nitty gritty day-to-day stuff with you for just a second, because I know a lot of mothers out there are wondering this. You're a single mother with a thriving business. How do you make that work?
Well, when she was younger, like when she was like little, like 3 years old, I used to hire a babysitter one evening a week, every week without fail. And some days it was all I could do to get across the street to Starbucks, to sit there and do nothing with a bottle of water, just to think. Because sometimes we don't have time to think some days, especially my corporate job was very involved. I come home, I'm wiped out, I can't make another decision.
Right.
And sometimes I couldn't work in my business, and I allowed myself that grace to do that. And I also, one of the things I teach a lot is self-care. And I spent a lot of time looking after myself and putting myself first and making sure that I could serve as many areas of my life as possible.
Right.
And then, go ahead, were you going to say something else?
No, I'm just agreeing. It's like, keep going.
the other big thing I had to do was I had to walk away from it all for about a year and a half. And there was a point in my life where I had lost 8 people in my life. In my family, I lost both my parents, my stepfather, and I ended up with cancer at that time. And so I stepped aside from everything. I just put it all on hold. I said, you know what? I have to put that plan on hold for a bit because I need to look after me.
Yeah.
And I did, and it took for that point from, it was July 18th. I'll never forget the moment.
Right.
From that point, it took me about 6 months even to be able to get emotionally okay with, going live again and talking to people online and reconnecting with my, the platforms I had and the, things I was delivering and stuff. So that was, but allowing myself to do that and not feel guilty about it and pushing myself to a point where maybe I could have done more damage for myself.
Oh, wow. Well, yeah. And I mean, I can't even imagine the weight on your shoulders knowing that, it's just you with your daughter.
And that was a big turning point for me because I had lost my support system through that.
Wow. Yeah.
And so, as you know, I just moved back to my hometown where I actually have more of a support system because it was vital to me to be able to expand my business now and do more things that I want to do. I needed to have a support system. That's really, really key for anybody out there, whether you're a single parent or not. To do that leap, you need to have a support system.
Oh, I'm so glad you brought that up. And I also, I know a lot of people, what's heavy on everybody's minds right now is this current situation with the pandemic, but that's going to go away.
Yeah.
That's going to go away. And if we can, if parents can start taking those steps in the directions like you did, if they want to kind of follow in those footsteps, I mean, the pandemic should not be part of that.
No.
Just keep thinking beyond that.
Yes, absolutely. And you really can't build a business in like 2 or 3 months at a pandemic, time sort of thing, right?
You can't do that anyway.
I know, right? Some people do, but to have a long-term sustainable business takes years to grow. Yeah. It's not something that you just do, in that one moment. But what's happening right now is it's highlighting it to a lot of people saying, is this really what I want to be doing? And a lot of the people that I work with are people that are looking for that. They have a deeper yearning inside for purpose. And, the clients I work with are wanting to build that purpose-led business. It's not just to escape their corporate world. There's more of
social impact.
Yeah, there's more to it than that.
Yeah, I hear you. And I think that's key as like women entrepreneurs tend to have more of that drive too. Yes, I want my own business. Yes, I want to be financially independent, but I want it to mean something too.
Yes, it's about,
and I love that.
And it's, especially if you're wanting to be that role model for if you have children and stuff like that, it's really important.
Mm-hmm. Well, we have a few questions that people have come in. I got a few more for you too, but we've got this one here. I don't know who it is, but it says, I have worn a trail going back to the drawing board. Not 100% sure what that means. So I'm not sure who this is either. So if you want to clarify, but what I read that, Maria, and help me out here, is you've just tried many things and nothing's sticking.
Yeah. And what I try and get people to do is go back to real basics. And if you can figure out what your life purpose might be, you have to do that. Mm-hmm. Sometimes that's a work in progress, right? Mm-hmm. But reconnecting with your values, what's really important for you. Reconnecting with the lifestyle you want to have. Mm-hmm. Because, that's one of the mistakes I made. I built a company very successfully, but it wasn't what I really wanted in the end. And it helped me bridge, do that bridge for me, but it wasn't what I was really passionate about.
Yeah. Yeah.
And so, those are my lessons that I've learned from the path that I've taken. And so really connecting with what you're passionate about, and that will help fuel that path. And, hopefully you don't derail as much and you don't have to turn back again a whole bunch of times. And you can just move forward with that. And that's some basics that I work with that.
Yeah, I love that. Connect with your passion and move forward. Yeah. Because if you stay connected to that, then the moving forward is a whole lot better. So let's see, we've got here Danny. It's hard for moms to put ourselves first. So how might Danny do that when she's overwhelmed with her child, her family, and her job? How might she put herself first?
Absolutely. And a little bit depends on the age too, which I was talking about before. When my daughter was little, that was a very different thing I did then. She's a teenager now.
Yeah.
But the one thing I've done from almost day one is Sunday mornings, I get 1 hour for me. And that's when I get into my prayer, my meditations, my journals, whatever I need to nourish me in a really deep way. And so that's my moment. And even if I have company in the house, I say, you know what? I'm going to check out in my bedroom for an hour. I'll be back. And even if I put my child in front of the TV, which I don't ever like doing, that 1 hour is so important for me to just regenerate.
Yeah.
And I do things like, I take my nutritionist background. And I have my greens every morning and all those things. So that's what I do for myself. And you just find those moments, and support system is huge. And if you have one, and we're afraid to do that often. Most moms are very afraid to ask for help.
That's the cape. Take off the cape. Yeah. So, okay. So earlier, when I started posting that we were going to have you on, I did have people send me a couple of questions, and I love this one right here. Somebody wants to start their own business, but just doesn't know where to begin. So let's talk about, I don't know this person's background, but perhaps, she's just been working in corporate for so long, and she sees a lot of people taking this leap to have their own thing. But she's like, well, how? What's the first thing you need to do? Yeah.
And I still like to go back to looking at what are your strengths, I wouldn't say good at necessarily, but where your strengths are, how you show up best in this world. If you know where your gifts are automatically, not everybody does. Sometimes it takes some exploring. One of the activities I do with my group is I love to get them to walk into, I know if you're in the States, you have Barnes and Nobles, and here in Canada, we have Chapters. And so you go in, where do you naturally gravitate towards? What book section do you normally go towards?
Oh, that's interesting.
And just sort of unfolding those things and unpacking them as they come up. What are things you naturally gravitate towards? I'm very much into personal growth, cooking, and health.
Me too. I was thinking, cooking, what does that say about me?
Yeah. And so that's what, that's why I'm a nutritionist and healthier. I love teaching. That is one of my teaching and leadership are my superpowers. And go ahead. I'm
sorry. So let me ask you, this sounds so valuable, especially for someone who really doesn't know. She knows she wants to make a change. So you've got a way, like you just lead people through these thought exercises. Okay. So everybody, let me put up this information. You can go find Maria this way, but we'll also make sure that you have direct contact with her, because I think that might be super, super helpful. To just discern what am I good at? What would be a good fit for me?
Yeah. And that I walk through, it's my LEAP model, and we walk through that whole process of, starting from that, we start from a real basic, I have no idea what I'm doing. And building up a business from there. But you have to know, it's really important to know a whole bunch of foundation pieces, like I said earlier, your values and what you really want in life. What are you trying to accomplish?
Right.
It's people,
and not necessarily financial either. I think so many people think it's about, well, how much money am I going to make?
Yeah.
No.
And it's really hard to make money when you're not passionate about what you're doing.
Yeah.
Really hard.
Yeah, I learned that the hard way.
Yeah.
It's much easier now, much better now.
Absolutely. And then you naturally attract people to you in your business when you're excited about it.
Yeah.
Oh, so much easier, right? Than trying to, go do cold sales and things like that, where, if you're showing up in a really happy, healthy way, people are going to want to be around you then.
Right. No, I totally agree. And I also want to say out there to anybody, who's even listening to this, just if you are really thinking about this, it does help to go through these kind of thought exercises and these programs with a guide. And I know, Maria, that's something that you just offer free for people. She'll just lead you through to help you discern if that's something that you want to do. And, earlier Maria said it took her 10 years to decide. And I know my first business took me a whole lot of time, but you can get past all that learning if you've got these things already in place. So
Yeah.
I would encourage anybody who's thinking about, getting a more flexible schedule, fire your boss and hire the best boss ever, which is you. Contact Maria. Oh, I still had that up there. Good. Contact Maria because she can lead you through those thought exercises to help you decide, is this for me or not?
Yeah.
So,
yeah, it does take a lot of mindset shifts to be an entrepreneur too, because it's very different if you've been in the corporate world for a very long time.
It's like two different worlds.
Yeah.
Two different worlds. I like them both, quite frankly, but they're completely different.
Absolutely. Yeah, for sure.
Couple of comments here. I love this one. When you are living your purpose, it shows.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah. I see it in your face, Maria. It's just, you get so passionate about what you talk about. And I
do. And it's very easy. It makes it really easy for me to show up every day. Mm-hmm. And when days are tough, it's just, it makes it easier.
Mm-hmm. So we have somebody who's trying to talk to us. It says, we cannot see you now, but I think this might be Jan. And earlier, Jan said she's going back to the drawing board. So apparently she's being a caregiver, like mothers out there. She's got somebody who is dependent upon her to physically take care of them. And it makes it difficult to stay on schedule. So what advice could you give to someone with this type of situation?
Yeah, it is challenging. It really, really is. And that's, it's the same as when you have young children too, where you're required 24/7 to be there. Mm-hmm. And, for people like Jan, I would suggest maybe trying to get some backup for yourself so you can actually take some time and actually making sure that you're looked after though too. When you're caregiving, it doesn't matter who you are. If you are a caregiver of somebody all the time, you need to make sure that you are looked after. You cannot caregive 24/7.
No, because give, there has to be something coming back.
Yeah. And the other thing is, what I did is when my child was little, and it's the same, you have to find those moments of time and make the most of those moments. Mm-hmm. So I would get up at 4:30 in the morning when I worked in the corporate world, and I would work from 4:30 till 6 and do a whole bunch of admin type work and things like that. Mm-hmm. I would make my day whatever I needed to do that's what I'm all about, is creating my own life, right? My own life path, making it mine and doing whatever is necessary.
Right.
So that you get enough sleep and just finding those nuggets of time. Mm-hmm. To make the most of it. But you have to be your productivity, you have to focus on one thing, be really honed in on that. And that helps. And when you've set that foundation on the side, like we talked about before, it gets clearer and it's easier to focus on one thing at that point.
Right. Exactly. I love that. So we just had a couple of new comments come in. I don't know who this is, but they like owning their own business. Yay.
Oh, yay.
Yeah, me too. You're the captain of the ship, If it goes down, well, that's part of you too. So,
exactly.
And I like this one here. That's what I joined your group for, Maria. Oh. So I don't know if they joined my group to meet you.
Yeah. All good.
Okay. I think you have so many wonderful things to offer, especially to young mothers who are making this decision. If your kiddos are really young, you guys, and you are thinking 10 years down the road, you don't want to still be working for somebody else. You want to have this super flexible schedule because there's so much when kids get to be teenagers, trust me, the schedules are nuts. Yeah. And then, they get up and leave and you just want to have flexibility. Now's the time to start thinking about it. So
can I add one other thing?
I'm sorry?
I wanted to add one other thing.
Oh, please do.
That was one of my driving factors I had in my mind when my daughter got to middle school, that I wanted to be out. Because I knew as a young teenager, you get to a really vulnerable age, the daycare is no longer there. I always set her up with really great daycare and camps and university stuff when she was younger. But once that was all ending, what do I do?
Right.
And so that was my sort of end. I had to have it happen by then. Right. A real driving factor for me for time-wise. And that's what I did.
Sure. I mean, and now you're free to whatever. I love that you've done that for yourself. And I think what I love the most is how dedicated you are to helping other women do that for themselves.
Yeah.
So let me put back up here. Let's see. To get in touch with Maria on Facebook, you could do this. Go find her there. You could also type a message below in this thread, and we'll make sure that she gets it. But I think that if you are that person thinking, should I do this? Should I not? That's all you got to do. If that's all you're thinking, just go visit with her and take her survey and figure out if it's for you or not. Yeah. I mean, you don't know if you can take a leap until you take a tiny little step.
Absolutely. I always call those baby leaps.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, Maria, thank you so much. I know your time is just so valuable, and I really, really appreciate you spending time with us today. And I want to thank all of you guys for hanging out with us. So we'll see you. Maria, do you have any other comments?
No, I just thank you for having me today. It's been lovely.
Yeah, I agree. This was really a lot of fun. So we'll see you next week on Inspirations from the House when we talk about screen time. My goal is to just bring information because you are the experts on your kids. I'm just going to bring you information and you can figure out what works for you, what doesn't, because anyway, it's like the science is all over the place. I'm like, okay, well, we'll do what we can. So anyway, thank you so much. And we will see you here next week on Inspirations from the House. Bye.